Hi, this is Jimmy with Foster Web Marketing, and today I'm here with Jim Brown, who is a bankruptcy and personal injury attorney in St. Louis, Missouri. Jim, thanks so much for being here.
You're welcome.
So can you tell us a little bit about your firm and what you do?
Sure. I'm a consumer bankruptcy attorney in St. Louis. Also do personal injury cases and car, tractor trailer, and some motorcycle accident cases. Been doing that for about 17 years. In that time, I've been pretty successful at getting the clients to come in. Mostly we did bankruptcy cases for the first 15 years, and that was it. And we've always relied on a direct response marketing approach, which would be entering that conversation that's going on in the prospect's head. I never had my face on any commercials, never had anything where I was on the web. It was just about finding out and what's important to them and directing towards that emotion and getting them to raise their hand and come in. And even back then, we would average around 300 to 500 people a week that would call our 24-hour recorded hotline. Now, I've kept numbers for those 17 years, and only about 18% of them would request an appointment. So we're losing the other 80%. Along the lines, I got into the yellow pages, and just about like every other lawyer, I just said I'll follow what everybody else does and get a yellow pages website, which was just a static business card out there, and wasn't able to put any content on it. So I thought that was good enough. After that, I got another website through somebody else, but they were doing the content and I had to submit it to them. And that was like pulling teeth to get them to do it. So that site wasn't pulling very much, and we were averaging about, I would say, maybe 500 visitors a month on the website. And you know, and then that's when I came across Tom and some of the techniques and everything that we've put in play.
That's awesome. So can you kind of walk us through like where your law firm was 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and now? How it's
Sure.
evolved?
I mean, I came right out of law school and started it, and I just knew I wouldn't work for anybody else. And you know, I've been through a bankruptcy myself, and it wasn't a very good experience. So I knew I could do it better than that. So we just started. What was important to me? What were the things that I thought would make a difference if my lawyer would have done it for me? And that's how we started. And we've done a lot of television and radio commercials, but there's never once anything that's said about me, and it's always about, you know, what is important to that person and losing property and all those things. So when we immediately started, within 2 months, we're filing 100 cases a month. And that just kept building and building and building. And it was just me and my wife that started it. I'd say 10 years in, we had 3 lawyers and about 15 support staff. And we're doing about 1,500 to 2,000 cases a month. And we opened offices in Kansas City and Detroit, as well as the one in St. Louis. Wow. So it has continued to grow from there. And then about 3 years ago, I got involved with Foster Web Marketing, and I developed that website. And that's allowed me to take it to a whole new level, to where I can control another source of prospects coming other than from TV and radio. Like the yellow pages, which is going away quickly, I think the TV and radio effectiveness is going to do that as well. So I wanted to get ahead of the curve and get in with a web development company that could help me do that. Today, we went from about a $1 million a year firm to about a $2.5 million a year firm 3 years ago, and we're just under a $4 million a year firm now, just on the bankruptcy side.
Wow. And so you don't have just one website.
Correct.
You have your bankruptcy website, which is castlelaw.net, but then you have your personal injury website, which is separate from that.
Yes.
How come you decided to separate those?
Well, I had them together at first, and I think we were so branded with the Castle Law name, because that's all we did for so many years, that there was some confusion there. That people saw Castle Law, they knew it was just bankruptcy, and we never really got anybody clicking on those practice areas. So I had talked to Tom personally, and he suggested we do a separate site, so we started the MissouriInjuryLawyer.com and just brought them apart. You know, our bankruptcy site, kind of at the same time, we were averaging about 1,000 visitors a month when I started with Tom, and now we're about 6,000 or so a month. And the number of people that are filling out the forms and converting from that is just amazing. The personal injury site has gone from 0 basically to about 3,000 visitors a month now, And we have actually doubled our caseload in the last 90 days. We've gone from about 20 active files to over 50 in just that 90 days. And it's all from following the tips and procedures and things that Tom walks us through on adding content regularly, and especially video.
That's interesting you mentioned video. Not a lot of lawyers understand that video is actually a very, very powerful tool in terms of converting visitors to your website to actual clients. And you mentioned off camera that you actually have a green screen studio in your office now. Can you tell us about that? I
do, and I actually got that idea after visiting Foster Web Marketing to do videos there. And you know, he suggested I come out to shoot them, and I did. And I asked him ahead of time, what do I need to do to prepare? What do I need to write scripts or what? And he's like, no, just come on out. So I'm flying all the way out here, and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. And got here, and I basically put on the top of my suit and left my shorts on and stood on the X, and I'm standing there not knowing what I'm going to say. And then Tom has his laptop open, he's looking at Google Analytics, and he says, how long do you have to wait after filing bankruptcy to buy a house? And that's just stuff I know, so I just started spitting it out, 30, 40 seconds, and I would say within an hour we had 20 videos. So I'm like, that's interesting because we're doing videos based on what people are searching for. So now we do the same thing. I went back and I set up an office that we weren't using, and we put in an HD camera. I've got a wireless mic. We have a monitor so that they can see what's going on. We have a teleprompter sometimes we actually use. And they look at Google Analytics every Thursday and they see what people are searching for. Then we come in on Monday. I shoot 5 to 10 videos on it. They turn that into an article, a blog, and a frequently asked question. They post them all together, and we constantly have that content going.
That's fantastic. I think one of the things that people are scared of about video is that they think it's very complicated. Do you have
No, it's not. I mean, I started with a little flip cam sitting at my desk. And it was like just little primitive videos, and you know, there's times I'm in jeans and just a t-shirt, but that's me, that's how I'm in the office. You know, and now when we shoot videos, it's a little more formal, but sometimes I'm still in there in a t-shirt. It just depends. You know, we just shot a Repo Man video that really had a lot of leg to it and got a lot of comments. In fact, all the comments that we got on it was from Repo Men. And I got a lot of messages cussing me out, but their usernames were all Repo Men. So we did a follow-up for Wrath of the Repo Man, and now we turned that into a DVD, and it's just grown, and the number of views on it is amazing. But it literally takes me less than an hour to shoot video on Mondays.
That's awesome. And do you have a team in place that helps you edit it and get it up on the web?
Just one guy. I've got 2 full-time marketing assistants now. One does bankruptcy, one does personal injury.
So if you had to offer a tip to a lawyer who's just starting out or who is a few years into starting their own law firm and things just aren't going the way that they want, what's step one? How do you turn your practice into that one you always dreamed of?
Well, I think you first got to take the focus off of yourself, and it's a change of the mindset, and it's not about you. Everybody goes to law school, and if you put that out there, you know, your person's going to say, well, I would hope so. You know, I'm a lawyer and I went to law school and I'm licensed to practice. Well, I would hope so. You know, but talk about them, you know, and what their needs are. And everybody can say, let's, for example, stop foreclosure. That's a common one. But I go further and I say, are you about to lose your home in foreclosure and can't tell your kids how you're going to live on the streets? You know, and it grabs that emotion. So I use a lot of emotional approaches to get them to raise their hand. Mm-hmm. The next thing, and the biggest tip I can say for the internet, is don't go with a static website and don't put a bunch of stuff on there about yourself. You know, update content regularly, look for what people are searching for, and make sure you have a back-end system that allows you to get in there and do it whenever you want.
Well, if you want to see how a real pro does lawyer marketing, check out castlelaw.net. Jim, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you.